Ugh. Got it. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today's board meeting, March 16th, 2023. The board meeting for Hope Community Public Charter School is now being called to order. We will now call the roll to determine if we have quorum. Nisa Bailey.
Here.
Okay, Neha Patel.
Here.
Allison Barr.
Here.
Lorraine Oyotubo.
Perfect.
Here. Okay, and we have Sherry Balagan. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I'm here.
And I'm here. A quorum has been determined. We will now proceed with the business portion of the meeting. We have an agenda to review. I would like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
It's Sharifa. I move to approve the agenda for today, March 16, 2023.
Thank you. And may I have someone to second the motion?
This is Anissa. I'm taking the motion. Oops.
Yeah, you seconded? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? No, the agenda is approved. Board members, we also have the board the board minutes to review. Are there any corrections or adjustments? I don't have any at this time. Anyone else?
Nope.
No? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 16th, 2023 board meeting?
This is Neha. I move to approve the February 16th, 2023 board minutes.
You and might have someone second the motion.
I'll second. It's Allison.
Thank you, Allison. Any nays or abstentions? Nope, the minutes we approved will be online. Minutes from this meeting will be approved at the April meeting, and the recording of this meeting will be available 24 to 48 hours from today. And these actions are based on the Open Meetings Act. And today we'll hear updates from PLA and Hope on the progress of the school. But I think we're going to start with the new business items of the FY22 990. I think we should have a rep from our auditing firm on the call. Do we?
Yes, I'm here.
Tiana?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, okay, all right, great, okay. And we'll just let you just kind of walk us through the 990, any highlights, anything we need to be aware of, and then we'll do an approval for that as well.
And Tiana, did you need to share your screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me make you a co-host. All right, you should be good to share.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what we have provided is a draft of the Form 990. It's the 2021 tax return, but it is covering your fiscal year, July 1, 2021, ending on June 30, 2022. The majority of the information included in the Form 990 is a direct lift of information that was included in the audited financial statements. I really look at the 990 as an informational return, since you are not a taxable entity. And therefore, there's a lot of other types of explanatory information that's included in the document. I also like to think of the 990 kind of, if you would, the organization's annual report. It gives the the school the opportunity to talk a little bit about its accomplishments, its goals, its achievements, and some of the types of policies that it has in place to kind of ensure some sound accounting policies and procedures. You'll see here on page 1 of the 990, the signing officer is going to be Allison Barr. So she'll be signing on behalf of the school as the treasurer. And here in part 3, I think number 1 and 4A, I think are consistent language where the school is describing its mission and kind of overall accomplishments and goals, and key program, with being the one program being an educational program. So as I walk through the document, usually what I like to do is so I sit on many boards, I'm the treasurer of some, I chair some nonprofit boards. So I walk through the 990 in a way that if I were in your shoes as governance and someone that's not as close to some of the day-to-day that went into this production, what is it that I would want to be aware of, especially knowing that the Form 990 for most parts is a public document. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up on page 6. So it's also part 6. It's the governance, management, and disclosure section. And it's here that the organization talks about the governance as well as some of the key policies. You'll see information here about, having a whistleblower policy, document retention and destruction, how it is that the compensation of your top officers is determined, and the like. There aren't right or wrong answers to the questions here, but I do think that the IRS views these kind of as like a goalpost of, what are some of the types of policies and procedures that organizations should have into place. You will see here that for the most part, the school's answers are yes down here. Where there's no, you don't have any chapters or branches, and you don't have any joint ventures. But otherwise, you're kind of, you're all in the yeses in terms of those governing documents that are that you have. Page 7 lists out all of the officers, directors, trustees, key employees, and highest compensated employees as defined by the IRS. And so you'll see the designation there for your highest comped individuals, both from a reportable compensation as well as the amount of other benefits received from the school. Additionally, there is a list of all of the board members. What this list should include is the listing of board members who served at any point during the fiscal year that the document is covering. So again, you'll see, I think both like Allison and Susan are included on here, even though they shared a position, just not at the same time. So, but they're both included because it's anyone who served, even if they just served for one day during the fiscal year. The section down here at the bottom of part 8, it's a section for your independent contractors over $100,000. So the top vendors over $100,000. And so that is included in here, as well as a description of the types of services that are provided to those vendors. Again, the next couple of pages all come from the audited statements. So you have the statement of revenues, followed by the statement of functional expenses. In this schedule, there are some classifications that are done and some groupings. If you've seen your functional expense schedule in your audit, it's fairly long, mostly to conform with the requirements of the DC Public Charter School Board. Well, that presentation doesn't quite correspond for tax purposes. So there are some groupings that are done to get those same expenses by natural class into the natural class presentation requested by the IRS. The next page, part 10, is the balance sheet. So your assets and liabilities, as well as the composition of the net assets. The page here is just denoting, as I mentioned, we take all the information from the audited financial statements in preparation. There are, some kind of book to tax differences, not really because you're non-taxable, but as an example, donated services are excluded from the previous pages here. And so then there's a reconciliation to account for the donated services or use of facilities in order to reconcile the net income and the 990 back to the financial statements. And then the section down here just is, again, some more questions on the fact that you did receive an audit by an independent public accountant. And question 3 asks whether or not you received a single audit. So that's the audit for your federal awards. And so that all of those are also marked yes. Schedule A doesn't apply based on your tax status. You have a Schedule E. I'll go over that in a second. Your Schedule B is a schedule of your contributors over 2% of total revenue for the year. So these are listed here. The Schedule B is the one schedule that is not public. So it'll be redacted once it is posted. So if someone were to go to GuideStar and pull your 990, they would know that you completed a Schedule B, but they would not know the names of your contributors. But you'll always have copies of what's called like the client copy that you could distribute on an as-needed basis. Schedule D just takes some of the other information. So here in part 6, it's just requiring a breakout of your buildings and equipment. So that information is included here by class. And if you would have had like other types of investments or payables or investments, that would have been here as well. Schedule D, because you do receive an audit, it requires you to give a disclosure on your FIN 48 position, which is your position on whether or not you have any uncertain tax positions. So that is included here. Again, this footnote is also required under GAAP. So it was in the audited report as well. We just lifted it from there and included it here. The Schedule E, as I mentioned, so you don't have to do Schedule A, but there's a special schedule just for schools. It mostly focuses on the school's discrimination policies and or non-discrimination policies, how it is that you publicize them, et cetera. Some of the questions don't apply because you're not a private school, which, could have, scholarships and other types of policies that they would further have to give some clarity into. And so again, there's just some explanatory language talking about the fact that you're operating under a contract with the District of Columbia. And then one of the questions doesn't apply because you're not a private school. And so it's just a note here that that's why you answered no to that question. Most everything in the Schedule O is explanatory language. Oftentimes there are some questions that might, if you say yes, then you have to give an explanation, or if you say no, you have to give an explanation. Those explanations are included here. This first piece, if you remember back on page 1 of the 990, we talked about, the description of your mission. This is just kind of the spillover. I sometimes tell people it's like a text message. So page 1, it's like this big, you only get maybe 140 characters. So if you have more to say, this is just kind of where it spills over. So I have some clients, they have 10 pages of just this one section. That might be excessive, but they have it. But this is just the spillover of that information. And it doesn't always page break neatly. I kind of wish they would put more space on page 1 so that you could say everything you wanted to say kind of all together. Here, there must have been a question about the fact that, there's kind of a management relationship. So it's just disclosing that fact. It's also talking about the fact that the board looks at the 990 and reviews it before it's submitted to the IRS. And there was a question about, conflict of interest back when we were going over those governance policies. So here it's just a statement on how it is that your conflict of interest policy is monitored. The next one is about the salary levels for key employees and how it is that those are reviewed each year. And this question here, I'm pretty sure, talks about like, has your process to review the 990 changed from a previous period? And the answer was marked, no, your process hasn't changed. Well, it probably says something in the terms and lines of describe if your process has changed. And so you're now just making a statement of fact that your process has not changed. I know I went through that pretty quickly. I know you guys have lots of things on your agenda. So I'll pause there and see if there are any questions or comments for the 990.
Allison, anything you want to add to that? Treasurer?
No, I know that Dan from EdOps and Ava spent a lot of time and went a lot of back and forth. So I took a look at the 990 last week, and so nothing additionally to add.
Okay. Any questions from anyone? No. Eva, do you want to add anything before we say? Okay. All right. And just for full transparency, I also saw the draft as well. There was nothing outstanding on there. From what I understand, I think the audit went well and smooth, right, Tiana? No issues there? Okay, which is always a good thing.
Yep.
All right, so we will need to do a vote to approve the 990 for fiscal year 22. All right, let's see. May I have a motion to approve the FY22 990? It can be submitted appropriately to IRS and all the correct PC entities.
This is Allison. I motion to approve the fiscal year 2021 990 for approval.
Thank you, Allison. And may I have someone second it?
This is Anise, the motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays or abstentions? No, okay. We have approved the FY22 990. Thank you, Tiana. I know you have to run to another call, so thank you.
Trust me, I don't want to go there. I'd rather stay here. You guys have a good evening. If you ever have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. I know, we spend a lot more of our time with Ava and Allison and Dan, but the access to us is extended to the full board. Just kind of like to drop that in when I get the opportunity. I know you guys don't get to see us as often, but you are always more than welcome to reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Great. All right, okay. Who's up next? You have Summer Advantage.
That would be me. I'm gonna go through the summer advantage proposal. So we have our summer advantage program for the summer, very similar to last summer. We expect about 124 scholars with program dates of June 12th through July 18th. Our staffing cost is $106,692. And materials and supplies is $12,878 with a total cost of $119,570. And that all will be coming from our ESSER 3 grant. So if any of you, if you're new, the summer programming is pretty amazing. We have math and reading in the morning. So it's very academic based in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we have enrichment. And on Friday, we have like field trips or experiences, different things that our kids go on. Last year, we had really great reviews from the program. And then when we actually looked at the data and we looked at our NWEA from the end of the year last year, and we tracked those kids that were in the program and then to any of the year, had really good data supporting that kids didn't have the summer slide. And in fact, many of our kids even grew, which is not typical over summer. So this is just our Summer Advantage program. And so we're asking for the approval for the program of $119,570 from our ESSER 3.
Okay, school, when does school end? 6/12? That's like Monday right after school ends?
Clifford, and I apologize, I don't have that on the top of my head. Clifford, do you know the last day of school?
June the 8th for scholars, June the 9th for teachers.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, you guys are early. Okay, all right. And then it starts June 12 to 7/18 and ended on 7/18. That's a Tuesday. That's right.
And I think that it's kind of a weird, wonky day. Some of the things around our programming have specific requirements. So, and I'm not sure. I think it's like 20 some days that we have to require. So that's kind of where we are and why it's the 18th and kind of a weird last day.
Okay, and so this allows enough time if we have any building like cleaning and update, any painting that, and then I know you guys come back to school, the staff comes back a week or two before school actually begins. When does school start?
Shoot, we just approved that at the last board meeting. Mr. Owens, I'm calling an audible again. Can you help me out? What is the first day of the school year?
I believe it's the 21st of August.
The
Don't
20.
quote me, I believe, yeah, August 21st. Or
So
that
we should
time.
have at least a couple weeks without teachers or, anyone
Okay.
in the building. So I think we should be okay. And I know we can talk with Ms. Savoy about what that plan looks like, from an operation standpoint. I believe she's presenting later today as well. So we could definitely, talk about what that might look like.
Okay.
We were talking about, we met prematurely and we're talking about, I know what they used to do. We just want to try to use one floor and then get that taken care of, then go to another floor versus just have them all over the place.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea.
Easier to manage too, but okay. I know last year we just had the issue of the timing, so I just want to make sure we avoid that. To give everyone the space they need to get everything done. Okay, and we're advertising this? Or how does this work? Advertise, or do we just send home notice saying that we want your kid to attend? How do we get enrollment? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
And I believe actually Bianca's on here too, because I know this is one of her goals. So Bianca, you want to share about how we're having kids come into the program?
Hey, good.
Yes, and I can also speak to that as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Tiffany.
All right.
Yes, so we pointed out the children who we thought needed more assistance this year. So I had the teachers pull the students who they thought needed more help as far as below grade level or attendance issues. And so we used those students to make enrollment. So what I did was I reached out via phone first and just let them know, hey, you've been accepted into our program. And then I'll follow up with the email to let them know as well.
Okay, all right. And parents are pretty receptive to this idea, right?
Yes, so far they have been.
Okay, and we provide breakfast and lunch, or what about food, how that's covered?
Yeah, breakfast and
Yes.
lunch is provided.
And this is included in the cost, or that is separate cost?
I don't believe there is a cost at the end. Yeah, it's actually covered by a grant. So, but
Okay.
yeah, so there's no
Okay.
additional cost here.
Okay, all right.
I have a quick question about that because I did read the email and it said the kids that are selected will be reached out to, how you're explaining. So my son took the program last year, absolutely loved it. So is it that you're only choosing students that are having current issues right now for the program? or can any student enroll like it was last year?
So, I mean, I can speak to that a little bit. We were targeting specific students because we know 124, but in all honesty, I know that we're going to have, in my opinion, 124 is almost our whole student body anyway. And so I think they're just putting that priority out there first, and then we're reaching out to all families. So there was some kids that we were like, they really academically need it. And so they were reaching out first, to say, hey, we have this to help support and close that learning gap. And then they're reaching out and, opening it up to everyone. And Tiffany,
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thanks.
Makes
Tiffany.
sense. Thank you.
Not to be rude, but Eric Johnson's in the waiting room. He's waiting for somebody to let him in.
Interesting. I promise I have let him in a couple times. It said Dr. Johnson and then Eric Johnson out. Maybe he's somehow getting kicked out. I don't see him in the waiting room. That is really odd. Let me check one more thing.
Yeah, he was just on. I just saw him. But okay. All right. Any questions from board members or anyone else has any questions about the Summer Advantage program? No. Okay. I'm sorry. No. All right.
But that data you provided at the top of the conversation was really helpful. So we'd love to know next year kind of how this program is impacting kids when they start at the school year. So thank you.
Absolutely. When we get our beginning of the year NWA, that will be my plan, is to report out again to say, okay, here are the children that were here last year and this year. And then you can kind of see how did they do with really the only instruction is primarily, Summer Advantage. So definitely we'll pull that report again.
Okay. It'd be nice to get a kind of a wrap up, like at the end of summer. Well, when we go back to beginning of the school year, just say how many kids actually attended, what it was like, or any changes you guys had to the actual program. So maybe something in August on that would be just
Sure.
a quick refresher.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions or comments? No. Okay. So we will now. I'm sorry.
I think we're
ask for a motion to approve the Summer Advantage program for this summer using the ESSER 3 funds.
This is Anissa. I move to approve the Summer Advantage program.
Perfect. You might have someone second the motion.
This is Lorraine and I second the motion.
Thank you, Lorraine. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Nope. Let's see. Motion to approve Summer Advantage is passed. Okay. Next, we have Raise the Bar initiative. I know we had talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I think I'd asked Joanna, I think was her name, to talk to Mr. Owens just to make sure that it was he had an eye on it and that it was
Sure. Yeah, sure.
addressing
And
the needs that he may have. So let's see where we are.
absolutely. So I can, if that's not in the packet, I can definitely share my screen.
Yep, I made you co-host, Kathy.
Oh,
so you-
thank you, thank you. All right, can y'all see that? And I'll
Yes.
just move right down here to the first screen. So I know Joanne, our Chief Human Assets Officer, presented both of these programs at last meeting. So I'll just kind of, let me actually, bear with me here. Get rid of my speaker notes. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, operator error. Let's go back. There we go. So this first, I'll just kind of give a synopsis, and I'm going to apologize for my froggy voice and coughing, just getting over a brief illness. So the first initiative that we are putting forth for your review is the Raise the Bar initiative. This is a bonus program that really rewards the Hope staff for meeting some important goals. So one is ensuring a 10% increase in student proficiency and growth on the ELA as well as the math state assessments. And the and is underlined because it's important. also hitting the enrollment goals for August 2023. And I should note, and obviously maintaining that count for count day. So you can see the enrollment goal is an increase of 55 scholars. And so the money to pay for this initiative comes from that enrollment growth. You can see the bonus amounts there on the screen, $2,500 for leaders and core content teachers, $1,000 for teacher assistants, elective teachers, behavior interventionists, $500 for our operations staff, clerical and support staff. So the total financial impact is $90,850. Important to note that the bonuses would be paid out in October of 2023. And in order to be eligible, staff would have needed to be working at Hope as of February 1st of this year. And they do have to be active at the time of payout to receive it. So I'll pause there for any questions before I move to the next one. All right. So the next one, cooperate with me, there we go, is a retention bonus. And so we know that, having continuity of staff really helps support scholars' growth. And so this is a bonus aimed to, incentivize employees to remain with Hope. And it also will help us kind of combat all the signing bonuses that we know schools are offering when they're trying to recruit our teachers and staff. And so this would be for staff who are returning for the next year. And the bonus amounts are $1,000 for teachers and leaders and $500 for teacher assistants, operational staff, office and clerical staff. The anticipated total financial impact is $26,302. And the funding source for that is ESSER 3. It has been budgeted in ESSER 3 for that. Like the RBI payout October 2023, staff do need to be active at the time of payout in order to receive it. Any questions?
Hi, it's Sharifa. I have a question.
Hi, Sharifa.
Hi, thanks for the information. I know there's been some conversation about employees and performance. So is this retention bonus being offered to all employees? I see that there's a reference in here to employees in good standing, but what does that mean? And when offering the incentive, is there a performance component to that?
So there would, I guess, sort of be a performance component to that, because staff would need to be invited back for the next school year. So they would need to be renewed. And so those would be considered staff in good standing if they are renewed and invited back for the next year. And those are the folks who would be eligible for this bonus. Did that answer the question? Boy.
Yes, so in terms of performance, in terms of meeting your standards.
Yes.
And meeting the objectives, is that being taken into consideration when offering, or is it just going to be offered to any employee that's coming back?
It would, so all employees returning would be eligible, but we do a review of all of our employees here in the spring. We actually have already met with Mr. Owens to really look at, okay, how are staff performing? How are they, let's look at their evaluations or observations. And are there any folks who, we've been trying to coach that just aren't meeting expectations? So obviously anyone who's invited back will be meeting those expectations and performance goals.
Okay, thank you.
So all of those returning staff would be eligible. Okay. This last slide just kind of summarizes the two initiatives. So you can see the total investment in staff.
And you said that the retention bonus, the 26 is from ESSER funds, ESSER 3.
ESSER 3.
And the bonus that's tied to students and the proficiency numbers, that's tied directly to the enrollment funding.
directly to enrollment. Yep.
Okay, all right. Anything to add, Mr. Owens, to this?
I was going to answer the question a different way, the question that was posed.
Okay.
The raise the bar incentive is based on enrollment and teacher performance versus the retention incentive is for returning teachers. So that's a distinction between the two.
Anything to add, Melissa?
No, we all met together, Mr. Owens, myself, and then HR department, just to kind of talk through it and, to talk through the details and talk about the achievability of all the pieces. So I feel like we're in a good place.
Okay, all right, sounds good. All right, so I think we're in a better position than we were last time we talked about this. So I will now like to make a motion to approve the Raise the Bar initiative.
This is
This is
Sharifa.
Neha.
I move to approve the Raise the Bar initiative.
Thank you. May I have someone to second the motion?
This is Neha. I move to second the motion.
Thank you, Neha. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? No? Okay. Raise the Bar initiative has been approved. Approved. So we've been, let me see, she's still on. So we've been working really hard to obviously increase the number of board members. I think just so everyone's aware, for compliance reasons, we should have 2 parent board members. Anna Gonzalez, who is a parent at Hope, has generously volunteered her time to join the board. I think she is on the call, Miss Anna. Miss Anna has 3 kids currently at Hope. One is in kindergarten. There's 1 child in 2nd grade and there's 1 in 4th grade. So I think that that's a huge commitment to the school going forward. And Miss Anna, before we do a vote, do you want to say hello or say anything out to us today? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to enjoy the meeting with you guys and to know everything about the school and how they are behind everything you do. Thank you for letting me in.
All right, thank you, and welcome, So now we will take a vote for our new board member, Ms. Anna Gonzalez, our new parent board member. I'd like to make a motion for that.
Are you making the motion or should I make the motion?
I'm sorry, it's a long day. No, I may have a motion to approve Ms. Anna Gonzalez to join the Hope BCS School Board.
Right, this is Anissa. I move to approve Ms. Ana Gonzalez as a new member of the Hope Charter School Board.
Okay, may I have someone to second the motion?
I second. Allison.
Thank you, Allison. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Nope. Ms. Anna, welcome to the team.
Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome. All righty. I was very ambitious earlier when I said we should be close to wrapping up by 6:30. So let's see how we do here. So we have the CMO report. Is that Mr. Christian who leads us off of this?
Yes, it is.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Do you want to share your screen, Mr. Christian, or do you want me to share from here?
Oh, you can share from there. That's fine.
Perfect.
All right. So same as always. However, we tried to switch it up a little bit and add some green for St. Patrick's Day. That is, always good to see. But just to start off with our successes and share the great things that are happening in the school building. So if you take a look at the photos here, on your first row, we have our differentiation. So on the left side, you have Miss Franklin, who works in Miss Baylor's classroom, providing that differentiated support for our scholars. And then you have Mrs. Para, who has returned to the building, and she's jumping in, picking up where she left off, and also providing some differentiated support in our ELA classroom. That is a first grade classroom there. And then we have great things going on in the classroom as well with the accountable talk. So students are making sure that they're sharing ideas, building those habits. So they're adding on to conversations, challenging students, asking questions, making sure that they're building their expertise and having a lot of that ownership. So you have Miss McKay, who is providing those accountable talk stems in her small group circle on the carpet. And then Mrs. Baylor, who is in class having a courageous conversation between two students. And then continuing at the bottom, we have some student ownership in Miss Leonard's class on the right side, and then Mr. Moore's class on the left side. Scholars know exactly what to do when they come inside the classroom and they jump right in. They've really taken advantage of utilizing the resources around the classroom as well as their notes to make sure that they are managing their learning. All right, and then with successes, obviously there will be some opportunities for improvement. However, wanted to share some really exciting news here. So on the chart above, you can see that we started in December. We were below where we wanted to be as far as teachers giving what to do directions, as well as their aggressive monitoring and then developing an effective lesson plan. So over time, you can see here that teachers grew in their what to do directions. We ended up having 15 out of 15 teachers knocking out their what to do directions every single time they're given directions, so students know exactly what to do. And then as far as monitoring aggressively and developing an effective lesson plan, as you can see, that grew over time from month to month as well. And we just hit 80%. So 12 out of 15 teachers did submit lesson plans and have been monitoring aggressively consistently. So because we have now have over 80% on all three of those action steps, we have developed 3 new action steps that we're going to get into in our next board report. Are there any questions about these action steps?
No, I don't have any.
All right. And that takes us to our testing. We're wrapping up our WIDA testing. WIDA testing has been taking place over the last week and a half. We will be going into our MSAA and our DLM testing really soon as well.
I'm sorry. Can you just remind me? WIDA is
For our
it-
English language learners.
Yeah, no. Okay.
And then MSAA and our DLM is our cognitive support, students that have cognitive disabilities.
Okay. All right.
All right, and here we were asked to share some district data and how we're comparing to the district. So as you can see, so the thought bubble, they're all on the right-hand side of the screen. However, that thought bubble actually goes to the grades 3 to 8. So based on that PARC data, 79% of our 3rd through 8 scholars are performing below grade level in math. Not Hope, but the district. So across the district in 2021-22, we were at 79% in the district were below grade level in PARC for math. And then for ELA, 70% of scholars, grades 3 to 8 were performing below grade level. And we just wanted to share that so that you can see kind of how students were performing in the district across the entire district, not just at Hope. And with that, there was a decrease from 32% to 22%, so a 10% decrease in proficiency since 2019 in math. And then there was an 8% decrease in proficiency since 2019 in ELA. And then a little more specific, just speaking to our population, as you can see, there were 10 percentage points, decreased more than 10 percentage points in math and ELA for African American and our Latinx students. Ms. Belogan, did you have a question? I think you came off mute.
No question on my side.
Oh, okay. So just wanted to share that district data. Last week we did share how our students were doing and what the projection was. So just wanted to make sure that you guys saw what the district data was. Also wanted to share our.
Hold on, Mr. I don't remember. I'll have to go pull up my notes, but do you just tell us quickly how we compare?
So, yeah, it was actually very similar to what you see in the district. However, I will say I am very hopeful. Like I said, I was in the math classroom for about a month, and I'm actually very hopeful that we're going to actually outperform the district this year. So fingers crossed, we should be seeing a pretty good increase. Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong, we would be at like 22% for math and
21.1% and 14 for math, or for ELA, sorry, and 14% for math would be a 10% increase in both. And right now it's at 17 students in math and 26. And actually, it's been a great celebration. I know Josh has been in the classroom right now, but he's super pumped. It makes me super pumped because he can say, I can identify the students that I right now think are, on that trajectory to be able to pass the PARCC assessment. So, which is pretty exciting.
Do we have any kids who are like testing above, you would consider testing above?
Joshua, do you remember in math specifically? I don't believe so, and possibly in ELA. I'm trying to remember back to our prediction and our link that we shared last time. Do you remember?
We had one student that was in the level 4 or 5 range in math. So I would say that that's testing above, and their habits show that they will be testing above as well this year.
One of the things on our NWEA reports we get is like a predictive study. It's not foolproof, of course, but it kind of tells us which students are predicted to pass the PARCC assessment score at proficiency or below. So we've been monitoring that data really closely. Joshua and I share a watch list that we are constantly, referring to, updating, and going over with staff to talk about where kids are and how we're making sure that we're continuing to teach on grade level, so that our kids that are proficient aren't falling behind.
Yes, and with that, so I'm glad you just mentioned that, Melissa. We have our Math Advantage teacher who does pull small groups every single day. And now that we hired a new math teacher for 6th through 8th, I pull small groups for the watch list. So the students that are on the watch list, I actually pull them out of class and we do some targeted math level 2 and level 3 part question problems to really make sure we're building those skills. Miss Evans, our Math Advantage teacher, also pulls her groups within math. Same with Mr. Ernst, he pulls them for elementary. Miss Evans is for middle school. So we have been doing the targeted support with small group instruction to make sure that our students perform well.
Okay. Okay. I'm also just curious to know, like, if there are any students who are clearly above the proficiency levels, like, would we be able to do something different for them, like offer them additional help so they continue to stay on that path, or any, right?
Yes, so based on NWEA, there was one student in ELA and no students in math as far as performing above grade level.
Okay.
And kind of to your point,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say to your point too, with our guided reading program, that's the beautiful thing is where we have LLI, which is a part of that program that supports our students that are kind of the well below, but guided reading is actually for all students. So if you're a 4th grader and you're reading above grade level, we now have books for you to read, engage in lessons in at that specific comprehension level, for whatever level you're reading at. So that's one of the things that's nice about guided reading. We talk about it's a tier 2 program, but really it's not to program to support kids on the lower end. It's also like to move to high ability. It's a tier 2 flipped on the other side as well.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Maybe at the next academic committee meeting, maybe I can join that one. I mean, I think I have some additional questions about. I know it should be a community effort, right, to move things along, but what else could we be thinking about to I'm not sure the right words to use, it's closing the gap or expanding the gap, but like, I'm just curious about what else is there. But we can probably address that at the Academic Excellence Committee.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
can definitely have that conversation.
I'm sorry, Anissa, you okay with that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, all right. Okay,
And this table is just wanted to prove that that dark green area in all grade levels are the amount of proficiency or the amount of tests that students have scored proficient on. So as you can see, there are a lot of tests within the math standards where students are performing well. And that really gives us that hope that when we do get to park, we will knock it out of the park.
okay, all right.
And then finally wanted to share some engagement that's going on. This was very heartfelt and amazing to see, very refreshing to see. Miss Upsher's pre-K4, pre-K5 class. We're talking about their dream and their journey and what they want to do. You heard students saying they wanted to be scientists, historians, technologists, mathematicians, and so on. And it was just really beautiful to see them create their stories using those strategic prompts and having them work with Miss Micah and Miss Upsher to create their stories and kind of present those. So that was awesome to see and wanted to share that with you all. Because at the end of the day, it is together we can, and we always will meet the bar and rise to the occasion as long as we keep those high expectations for our scholars.
All right. Okay. All right, sounds good. And before we move on, I know there's some staff members from Hope who are on the call. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to join today's meeting. Nice to see you all as well. All right, what's next on the agenda?
Principal report.
Okay.
Mr. Owens, that would be you, sir.
Okay, I'm ready. Just got to scroll it up some so they.
Figured you're watching that basketball game.
Princeton upset. They beat
Oh,
Arizona.
Princeton won? Oh, wow.
Yes, by 3 points, 4
Oh my-
points. Currently, we have 206 scholars. We currently have, before they close My School DC, 101 students on the My School DC list. I think it's gonna be more. And we have 132 intent to return. 101 is re-enrollment applications. Since then, I think we may have got 7 more for re-enrollment. So we're well on our way to trying to meet our goal at 257 for next year.
Okay, I know where there's supposed to be, we talked about open house. I think we talked about the finance committee meeting, I don't remember now. Supposed to be an open house, I think, coming up, so we can reach out to some of these parents who are on the My School DC list. How is that coming along?
That is coming along awesome. So today we released a press release. I was able to gain
screen it.
access for the My School DC list so that I was able to send emails. So today, Ashley Mentor, we released a press release, just giving them an update on everything that we have going on at Hope. And we also gave them our new date for our open house as well.
Okay, and what date is that?
April 14th.
Okay, can you just make sure we get a calendar invite in case any of the board members would like to attend?
Absolutely.
Helpful.
Yes. And we were going to give an enrollment and marketing report detail.
Okay, I'm still kind of watching the clock. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. And, all right. Okay,
All right,
so
Oh, did you have anything else, Mr. Owens, you wanted to share? Just pictures? Oh, you're on mute, Mr. Owens.
I just got back in. I got kicked out for some reason.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it just kicked me back, I just got back in. So we had a read across America with Dr. Seuss, so some of them admin staff, as well as some of our beta kids that when we went and read stories to our elementary kids, as you see shown below.
Nice.
And they did green eggs and ham, Miss Upsher's class, as well as Miss Royal's class. after they did the reading of the book, they went and actually do more hands activities, and they ended up making green eggs. And a lot of kids didn't know what, they had different. One of the kids up to class, I asked them, so what do you have? And they said they having eggs and green eggs and ham. Not, like a different, like, but it was kind of funny. But once they got it, they had a lot of fun, and all the kids said that it tastes good. And the eggs were just food coloring. So, but they learned a lot. You read something, you had the activity, so it kind of put two things in perspective. And so they learned a little bit more about the story. And our upcoming events are, we still doing the reader testing. We had the 8th, we had the mobile dental van, our open house. That date's going to change. 25th neighborhood canvassing, and then we have the grab and go breakfast on the 30th for the parents.
I have a question. So I think last call we heard that Mr. Ray was going to go out into the community and do some outreach. Did that happen, and how did that go?
They went out, and then Miss Gladys went out today and went to the daycares
Okay.
and passed some flyers out to the daycares, as well as some businesses within the community. We're trying to make our school a bit more diverse.
Okay. All right. Okay. And grab and go for parents. That's just breakfast you provide, and
Yes, so I'm going to
Yes.
set out some of our things from our pantry, some toiletries. I'm going to set out some books. I'm going to set out some breakfasts. And so as the parents are riding past, we're just going to go out with our eagle and say good morning and welcome them in, just to give them a different type of feel for the school.
okay. All right. Okay, sounds good. Hopefully it's a good weather day. So, all right. Yeah.
And currently, like I said, we're looking at to reach our 257 goal. I really want to get 300. That's the goal we're reaching for. So currently, scholars is 140. So we're at 87%, and we're at 94.3 of total application goal for 23-24. And then as was told earlier, we had an official announcement of our STEAM program, and it was had our press release. I believe it went out yesterday.
I didn't see it.
That's what I was told. Yes, they said, help me out. That's
Yes,
what I was
Ashley
told.
Mentor sent it out. I'll make sure you get a copy of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so okay, there's still lots of stuff to do before August. But okay.
But we're on our way.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Oh, okay, Miss Eva. Okay. No, there's marketing and enrollment, but there's no.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Do I need to share my screen with someone, or is it just a verbal update?
For marketing and enrollment, that was the slide that you were just looking at.
Oh, I apologize. I thought that was Mr. Owens. I
No,
apologize.
that was our slide. That's okay, but I know we're pressed for time, so you all have that information. And Mr. Owens already told us where we are.
Sorry, I was just trying to go through because they was
I
talking about 5
know,
minutes.
it's okay. Bianca, is there anything that you wanted to add, that you wanted to present that Mr. Owens didn't cover?
No, I just wanted, everybody kind of sees our social media. I just wanted to say that it was doing a great job. We have reached in February, we reached 14.k views. One of our videos alone received 10.5k. So we are really doing a really great job in our social media department with updating, with showing our STEAM department. Our radio announcement went out, our ads are at the bus stations. I received some of our new marketing materials. So we are really moving forward and getting prepared for our 23-24 school year.
Okay, I see there's an 8th grade parent meeting as well coming up.
Yes, so the 8th grade parent meeting will be a meeting that will just be to give them an update about graduation, to talk about their dance, and to talk about their trip, and to see who still needs additional help in getting prepared for high school.
Okay. Can we just make a note that at the next Academic Excellence Committee meeting, I want to talk about the middle school and the prep for high school. Are there any class? I know some things the middle schoolers can get credit for, like Spanish class or for other things before they go to high school. I'm not sure what we have in place, if anything, but maybe that's something I'd like to address for us to discuss a little bit at our next academic meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Looks
Hey,
exciting.
Carrie,
Mhm.
I'm gonna jump now. Is that okay?
Okay.
Or is there anything left to vote on?
No, I think we're trending okay. No, it's fine, Neha. We can always fill you
Okay.
in. All right,
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
Thank you. All right,
Okay,
bye.
bye-bye.
Super. I'll make up a little time on the financials since we review in detail on the finance committee, and financials are staying very consistent with what we've seen for the last quarter. Solid on the days cash at projected to be at 151. So that puts us in a good position there. We do still have for fiscal year 23 an anticipated deficit for the year of approximately 5% or just over 300,000. And that is really holding the resources in place with a little bit lower enrollment. We also have are still working through to get some better contracted agreements for the nurse and the custodial group, and hopefully can even close in a little bit as we head to the end of the year. The other key piece there is grants invoice here at 14%. That will be increasing to be sure that all grants are fully expended by the end of the grant year, which most of them will be 9/30, and we will be on track to do that. So all stays very much on track with the latest forecast and the projected years days cash at year end. So I'll stop.
Thank you, Eva. Anything to add, Allison, or?
No, I mean, I think we're working on the timeline and process for getting the fiscal year 22-23 budget approved. So we'll be sharing more details at some point.
Okay. Where are we in that process, Eva?
So the initial, the most important piece of that process is, of course, enrollment. So the budgeted enrollment target has been set. And then we start to work and fill in the staff that goes with that, and as well as all needs. Key needs from the school, and we're building that in against the funding projections and the grant allowances for next year. So we're at the initial phase of it, and hopefully the next finance committee meeting we will have an initial draft.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, okay. And does anyone have any questions about the financials before we move on? No, okay, all right, thank you. So we're going to talk a little bit about STEAM and expeditionary learning alignment. I know we're going to be a STEAM school going forward. I know a couple years ago we had wanted to be expeditionary learning school, and at last I think it was the finance committee meeting, I asked for, how do we integrate, or can we integrate the two learning systems? What will it take? Is it even feasible? And I asked for something, so that's why we have this presentation here. So Melissa, I'll turn it over to you for this one.
Thank you. So I know there's two pieces. So one of the things is we really dig deep and we look at the two different programs. I mean, some of the challenges we've had this year is I felt like we prepared well over the summer. We had a great plan, but for example, some of the staffing issues, and we haven't had an EL teacher, consistently for middle school. We've had a lot of changes and shifts, and we've been flexible. But when you're trying to uplift a new program and put it into place with the current expeditionary learning program, I would say it has not been as successful as we would have wanted it to be, just because it is a heavy lift. There's a lot of training that goes into place that's ongoing. And then if you have someone that comes in new, that lift is really heavy at the beginning to try to get someone new on target for what expeditionary learning requires. One of the things we talked about too is that it's really a 3 to 5 year full implementation. Of course, you start and you build the program as you go. We did have $100,000 earmarked for expeditionary learning this year. Some of it was used. We did do some expeditions. We did have some different projects we worked on within the school, but it also requires all teachers to implement. So with looking at if we make the shift to STEAM, which would be what I would recommend for a couple of reasons. I think one, the technology teacher position now would be repurposed to a STEAM teacher. So it's not going to cost additional staffing, but this way also we guarantee our kids receive STEAM instruction. So there's not going to be, if there's someone that shifts or whatnot, we have that one person that's truly dedicated to that program, and our kids will receive it at a minimum on a weekly basis. The cost based on Mr. Moore, we work with Mr. Moore and Mr. Owens to put together what are the things that we would love to have for this program, what curriculum specifically, and then Josh is actually working on a full overall snapshot, which he was actually a STEAM instructor in his former life. And so talking through what that looks like, but to put everything on that wish list together for the school, which also includes a robotics program for after school, the extra robotics, we can have kids competing, doing a lot of different things. It's about the same as $102,765,000. So, or $765. So when we look through those pieces, it's pretty comparable on a financial standpoint. We also are the only STEAM school, so that arts piece, no other DC school that we've found. I know Mr. Owens said that it made me like, get all nervous, but I have looked everywhere. Everyone's STEM, and STEAM really does set us apart. It includes the arts piece of it. And I did have down here, so when people ask, what are those big pieces that really set aside? And it's really that creativity and innovation piece. And it talks about, it's not just about knowing these specific, science, technology, engineering, and math, but it's really understanding and doing the application, the creation, the ingenuity that's behind all of those pieces. So that isn't happening, right now, I feel like in DC. So this is something that will set us apart from other schools in the area. And it's very similar as far as, expeditionary learning also is very project-based. You create an end product that kind of goes across content areas. Well, the same happens in a STEAM program as far as it goes across content areas, but it's a little more hands-on, inventive. And with this specific proposal, it will actually ensure that regardless of, even if we have other shifts and staffing, that every child in the school will still receive STEAM instruction. So just a couple of positive, I felt like really when we looked at kind of the program as a whole and some of the pitfalls we had, it's not really going to cost anymore. It's just actually going to be replacing funds that we had earmarked this year, to the other. And I think for the teachers too, I know our teachers would love to have some of these things in their classroom. And so we'll have an expert on staff, right, that can help PD teachers and incorporate it in their room. But I think starting with the expectation that that's not the expectation for all classroom teachers to have it in there, as they're still developing and learning newer curriculums, that this will be a way that we ensure our kids get what they need, and that also we can have someone right on staff that can provide that support to other staff members that want to put this into their classroom. So I hope that's helpful. And so that's kind of that's the recommendation right now. So I wanted to be able to share kind of where we are with both programs. We put a wish list together. I believe it was shared at the finance committee meeting. But I'm happy to share even more about that as well.
Will you guys be able to put together a plan, like what does year 1, year 2 look like? And also, is there any, I say we're relying on one teacher to kind of provide this. I think we have an art teacher, right? How is she involved? And is there any feedback from the teachers at the school about this direction? How do they feel about it? I would like to, before we say, let's just do the full switch, I would want to see like a plan for STEAM, right? The first year, we're gonna do this, we do the robotics club. What else? I don't remember. I should know his name. Oh my goodness, the teacher's name. The science teacher. Like, what else does he need? Does he need extra training or certification? Like, what else do we need to make sure that the program, not only that we just have STEAM, but it's credible, right? And we're hitting on all the right resources for this, because I still think there's I know it's similar, but it's a lighter lift, but it's still project-based in some level, right? And you can still take the learning across different subject areas and things like that. But I just want to make sure that I'm all for the idea of STEAM, and we talked to Mr. Owen about this, and I think Mr. Johnson and I, when we were at the school one time, I want to see a plan to be just kind of like, what is it? What do you need? What do teachers need? Because there might be some other interests there as well. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket with the science teacher. I know that's a big part of it, but the arts piece is just as important too.
Absolutely. And that's one thing. So replacing that technology teacher with a STEAM teacher, that part of each project incorporates multiple pieces. So it incorporates the arts, it incorporates mathematics, all of these different components. And I know, so Mr. Moore, even though he was one of the primary people that helped to design a lot of these components, he wouldn't be necessarily the person that would be the STEAM teacher. We would actually have a separate STEAM teacher. And Mr. Owens, this is really, I feel like if you want to speak to kind of where this piece is, I think you probably could speak to it best. But one other thing I just wanted to mention too, I apologize, because you asked about PD though, there's actually PD included in this quote too, so that, you know, the STEAM teacher can receive that PD, and it wouldn't just be if we wanted other teachers as well. But I feel like it's getting them excited and seeing who would be, yes, I want to put this into my classroom. So, I mean, year one would truly be, it would be the STEAM teacher, you know, that would be the expectation. And then we could definitely build it out to classrooms. But Mr. Owens, I'll let you speak to it.
But the goal is for the PD, it's going to be for every teacher in the building. It's not just going to be a heavy lift just on the Mr. Moore and the STEAM teacher, because the things are like for pre-K, they can do stuff. It aligns with Apple Tree's doing when they're doing stuff like building bridges and things like that. So they can that's part of their structures and things of that nature. And there was a show in our last board meeting with Miss Burwell, and then Miss Upshur was using Legos to build things like that. So each grade level is going to have responsible things like if you're teaching math or something. Each grade band is going to be responsible for this particular knowledge, and we're going to scaffold to go each grade level. As each grade level go up, like for 4th and 5th grade, they'll be into coding, and then for middle school, they'll add on to robotics, and then we talk about things of drones of that nature. We even have some of the stuff in our school store now. Mr. Phalen and Mr. Haley had even got some drones and things of that nature just to excite the kids. So we're trying to get kids excited about it prior to leaving school, so they look forward to coming to school for the up and coming school year.
Ms. McKay, I'm sorry, Ms. McKay said manipulatives. Is that list that we saw in the other slide? Is that what you're looking for, Ms. McKay?
Hi. Just when you were talking about like things that they would need, first grade's been doing some STEM stuff, and it's really awesome, but the like Legos and things, they are mine that I bought with my own money. So just things like Connects or other things that any other manipulatives that we could use when doing STEM stuff or STEAM stuff, that's kind of what I meant.
Okay.
And it's definitely in the budget. It's already ordered. We're already ordering for the upcoming school year, Miss McKay.
Miss Allen, you had a comment as well.
No, I was just actually stating that it will be cross curricular, so it will be all grade levels who will be included in STEAM, even if it's small, short beignets or projects that they do. But they will all be utilizing the Common Core skills. So Common Core standards. So it will be aligned to OSCE's objectives of what's supposed to be taught in school.
And it sounds like this shift will allow us to do some really, really cool things in the school. And obviously thinking about, you know, the jobs of the future, this sort of really helps prepare our scholars for that. I think the one thing that, as we're thinking about that plan and the rollout, you know, I don't want it to feel like there's whiplash of just like we're all of a sudden making a transition. We were so focused on being an EL school, just how that's being rolled out to teachers to make sure that they do feel supported. They kind of understand what that shift is, why we're making that shift, all the great things they're going to get out of that. So it doesn't feel like it's just, all right, we're we're changing direction again. So just kind of making sure that they feel super supported, because obviously in theory, I think this sounds like a really great transition for a lot of reasons, and have loved seeing all of the robotics and the science stuff that's going on. So I think it's great. Just want to make sure, the rollout is, the communication around the rollout is just as important, I think, as the actual implementation of the work too.
One, and kind of like you mentioned, this is why for me, I think that makes sense right now, because I think where it has been, stop go with EL, just with shifts and staffing shifts, this will kind of protect some of that, because I feel like that's where I feel like it hasn't been as successful as we wanted it to be with expeditionary and learning. I do feel like this will help to kind of guarantee, that there's some continuity regardless. And like you said, it's very high interest. Part of that proposal as well included computers that have the specific, like, I don't quite understand, I'm not a technology person, but a specific chip for coding. We have a couple of laptops that are also specific for the robotics piece, because they require specific hardware. So, there's a lot of, and that will be something that will last quite some time. So there's just a lot of pieces there. Vex Robotics too, they actually have like a world competition. It was actually in the state of Indiana, which I thought was interesting, a couple of years ago. So I got to attend it with a couple of schools, and it was really, it was a great experience for the kids. And we got grants, people got grants to send their kids to the competition. So just think there's so many great opportunities through STEAM, and it's just high interest, right? I just think kids love it. So, and teachers are excited about it too.
Okay, good.
Allison used the word supported, but I also want to make sure that people feel included in the process, and that everyone has an idea, not everyone idea is accepted, but I want to make sure that the staff, the teachers, they feel included as we make this transition, because they may have ideas that, they're hands-on, right? So as much input as we can get from them as we move through this process, because what was the thing Joshua said earlier? Together we can. Is that what it was, Joshua? Yeah, together we can. So yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, so I would just like to see something built out. I know you guys have your wish list of supplies and all that stuff, but kind of programmatically, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Like you said, adding that STEAM teacher. Like, I want to just see a little bit more on it before we.
Absolutely. And I know
absolutely no more EL. And I'm pretty sure there's some aspects of the EL product that we could.
Yes. And honestly, and that has happened this year. So I don't want you to think that, we have done some of those expeditions. We have done some different learning pieces, but to say we have done it well, I can't say that, if that makes sense. And that's why I feel like this is something that will really guarantee some continuity for all kids at our school. But I do understand what you're saying. And I know Joshua's working on a couple of things right now regarding that planning out of what this could look like for the school. So he is working on that right now.
Okay. And Mr. Owens, okay, STEM background. Okay, well, that's a step in the right direction.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And thanks, Ms. McKay. All right. All right. So moving along. So this is to be continued conversation, right?
Yeah. So perfect. That was the purpose of tonight too, just to kind of see where we are and have to share kind of what we're thinking. So.
All righty. So let's transition. Well, before we could kind of just academic excellence committee, could we do that quickly first? If there's anything you want to highlight from your last meeting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, hi everybody. I feel like we kind of touched on most of the things that we talked about in our meeting that kind of has been happening the last few meetings, but no, we pretty much touched on all the things that we discussed in our closed meeting. Yeah. So
okay, thank you. All right. Facilities updates. So Ms. Savoy, you're still on?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, there were a few findings from the fire marshal inspection report. To date, the following records are current. which is the fire inspection, the sprinkler system inspection, and the alarm system inspection. We have posted our fire department connection signs outside of the main entrance of the school to locate where the fire connection sits. So if there's ever an event of emergency, the fire department will be able to locate the system. We have the elevator inspection scheduled for May the 3rd. And our safety map has been completed. We are just waiting for the company to send us the final version. And the company that we are currently working with is called Safety Map. So we are actually in good standing with all of our inspections. Our fire drills are up to date. We had our fire drill for this month already on March the 7th.
Okay, okay. And I know there used to be a Google sheet that was going around at one point with all the, does that cover all the things that needed addressing, the fire, the elevator, the safety maps, you know, fire drills, that kind of stuff? The HVAC, what's going on with the HVAC?
So the proposal for the HVAC, we've just received the quote, so that was just submitted.
Okay, okay. HVAC, what else was on the list? I don't remember.
I think, Carrie, hi, this is Sherry.
Oh, hi, Sherry.
Hi. I think the link is actually, if I'm correct, it's right there, facilities, operations. I think that's the link that will take us to the Google sheet with everything that you just described. So I think once, I don't think we can you click on it here, Ms. Savoy, or not? I don't know if you can in the.
No, it's not allowing me to click
It's not
on
allowing,
it.
yeah. But
Yeah.
that's where it can be found. So, you know, after the meeting, if members want to take a look at it and get a good idea where things stand, I think it's there for you to review at any time. So. But great questions. Where are we, right?
I think it was a PDF that was sent, so it's like it probably was a live link, but even for me, I can't click it either. So I'm just a heads up that we might need to resend it so that she's able to access that link.
Great.
Yeah, I am looking for a Tahira email. Okay, so it's a Google Docs, yeah. So it's HVAC, okay. The stop sign or the you know, traffic person in the morning, is that still ongoing? Is that still in ticket status with DDOT?
We have had a crossing guard every day. He actually stays out there all day. So I noticed that when I arrive early in the morning, like around 6:30 a.m., he's already there. So throughout the day, he sits in his car, and then during dismissal, he's outside directing the traffic.
And that's been helpful?
Yes, very helpful all day.
All right. Okay, and then we talked about the science lab, ventilation, getting them proper ventilation. What's going on there? Yeah, that's something you need to look into as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
No problem, no problem. And then there was the front door and back door, front and back door latch. And then there was the parking garage mechanism. So we may need someone to get to the Google sheet so you can just be aware of some of the other things that were on there. So
until you're able to access that sheet, the third gate that you're referencing to in the rear of the building has been fixed. And the back door, the rear of the school has been fixed, as well as the front door.
Okay. All right. And what about there was supposed to be keyless entry?
We're able to use our badges to enter.
Badges to enter, okay.
Yes.
All right, okay, all right. The reason why I wanted to talk about this, safety is important for everyone in the building, and I just think it just has to be a constant priority that everyone is safe, kids are safe, teachers are safe, every day. So happy to hear that there's progress there. And I think at the finance committee, I talked about with the open house, is there a way we could spruce up outside, or we could, make the entrance a little bit more appealing? Anything there?
Yes, we are in the process of working on that. I just had a company to come out to give us a second quote. I am waiting to receive that quote from the company. They just came out on yesterday. But yes, we are in the process of getting that resolved.
Okay, all right. And you think we can get it done before open house?
We're pushing. I did let the companies know that we have a hard deadline, that we would like to have this done as soon as possible. The first company did mention that if we do decide to move forward with them, that they are able to work on the weekends, which is helpful.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah. I think outside needs a little bit jazzing, like some plants or whatever, some stuff was ripped up front. The sign, any update on that sign outside that doesn't look good?
Yes, so are you with reference to the student interest sign or the
sign at the top of the bill? It says Eagles, I think.
Yes, so I was in contact with Fast Signs, and they did mention that we could have the sign replaced. So we were trying to pretty much find a company that can actually get it done as soon as possible.
Okay, all right.
There was a lot of back and forth with that company, so we want to find a company that can give us a quick turnaround.
Okay, all right. And then lastly, lighting, lighting was a outside back,
Yes, so there was a switch. So the side of the building is very well lit now. We are in the process of changing the bulbs in the parking lot to have that resolved.
Okay, okay. All right, so things are coming along then, it sounds like.
Yes.
All right, okay. All right, that's what I want to hear. All right, anything else to add? Anything, Mr. Owen, on the facilities side of the house? Anything,
No,
Melissa?
we're moving along. Things are getting done. It was a lot of things to get done. Appreciate Miss Savoy coming in and hitting the ground running, because it was a lot of things that had to be taken care of, and she's been doing an excellent job.
Thank you, thank you. Anyone, any comments, anything to add? Nope. All right, all right, all right. Not quite 6:30, but not quite 6:30. But I think it was a good meeting. Any comments or anything before we move to a brief closed session? No, everybody's good? Okay, all right. So, and any public comments? This is a time for anyone else on the call. Do you have anything, concerns or questions? Now is the time to share. Okay, okay, no comments. Okay, so we will now take a motion to go to closed session for the purposes of contract, legal and personnel issues. May I have a motion to move us to closed session?
A motion to move to closed session to discuss issues of contract, legal, and personnel.
Okay, all right. I know some of you will drop off a call before we wrap up, so thank you. If you need to leave, that's fine. We should only take a few minutes. So let's move to closed session.
So Melissa, yeah, I think.
I'm not sure what to do.
I don't think we have a separate room set up here. We sure miss Christina on these nights when we're trying to figure this out. So maybe just everyone except who Carrie would like in closed session should just go ahead and drop off, if that would work. And you are welcome to join back once the meeting convenes, if there's anything necessary to join back for. Typically, the board comes out of closed session and then adjourns. So.
And I think I can probably, I know how to create a room and put people in it, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
you want to do that, have them
Sure.
go to a separate room would be perfect. Thank you.
Carrie, Lorraine. Okay, I think I have everyone. All right. Is there anyone else? Just the board? I'm putting the board in. Is Mr. Owens going as well?
No, this is just a quick powwow with the board, just a quick catch up on some
Legal personnel or
legal personnel and contracts.
I can go ahead and drop off, correct?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, I think we're good. So I think it may move you. If it does, I apologize. Because I think you should be good to go.
Okay, so
All right.
If they're moving, or somebody's moving. No, we're still on. Miss
I have
Vanilla still on.
Lisa, Kara, okay, let me see.
Allison, Lorraine, Sharifa.
Here we go. It was another button. Hang on.
Okay. Kathy should go off. I should go off. You should go off.
So how?
Oh.
There we go.
I was thinking it was one more button.
Yeah,
One
there
more
we
button
go.
I needed to hit.
So it's just us. So did they approve RBI?
Yes.
Good. Y'all missed a fun meeting on Eagle's Nest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I told you.
Talk.
Well, it was interesting, to say the least. There we go.
Okay, now.
So, thank you. I was waiting. Yeah. So at the last minute, we got a special ed contract